So let's talk about fuel quantity and how we're going to measure. This Bearhawk kit comes with two 27.5 gallon main tanks. I did not choose to go with auxiliary tanks. This is a B model kit, 4-place Bearhawk. With the B model you get the riblet wings, the hairy riblet airfoil, which allows for the slightly larger fuel tanks. So although this instrument panel is equipped to run an electronic fuel sensor, if we wanted to add those, the Dynon Skyview will accept a signal from a fuel sensor, and we actually tried to use the B-Light fuel sensors with the Dynon system. However, talking with B-Light, we learned that the fuel caps on the Bearhawk are going to create a pressure in the tank that could cause erroneous readings. So the solution will be to include sight gauges for fuel quantity. Sight gauges will be installed on each of the wing root panels on the left and right side. This is what the sight gauge will look like once it's installed. So in a previous video I showed you how I made these wing root panels. Initially, when I ran the fuel line, I assumed I would be running my fuel line on the outside of this wing root, and then it would penetrate through about here. I'm going to actually replumb these fuel lines entirely. These will be a little bit longer and they will penetrate through this wing root as opposed to the panel. I'll put a bulkhead up here, and I'll use a speed flow bulkhead fitting through this area. We'll also include a speed flow bulkhead fitting on the rear tank line. To create a rigid mounting surface for the sight gauges, I will use .032 aluminum as a backer to be mounted on the face of the wing root panels. The back of the aluminum will be covered in fiberglass, which will insulate it from any of the corrosive nature of the carbon fiber. I will also use a similar mounting surface made out of aluminum where the fuel lines from the rear of the tank go into the back of the wing root panel. I really wanted to make sure I had a safe and secure mounting procedure when installing these sight gauges, so I spoke with Tom Swearigan over at TS Flight Lines, and he came up with the idea of modifying these Cub Crafter sight gauges. Let's talk about these fittings. This elbow is essentially a hydraulic line fitting. It's got an MPT thread that goes into the sight gauge and then a swivel to accept a number 4 fitting. And then these are just bulkhead fittings, AN 832-4D bulkhead fittings. So the whole time I'm recording this video, I realized my camera settings were off. Somebody told me a few weeks ago that all of my videos looked like they were washed out. The colors were no good. I had some camera setting issues, and hopefully the color's much better now. So this is the completed panel to mount the sight gauge. These indicator graphics come from Carbon Cub, so I'm not exactly sure how accurate they will be for my setup. I may have to change those. It's just simply a matter now of installing these crush washers over these bulkhead fittings. Install the nuts. And there we have it.